Today we're taking a look at the 7 Casios that I have on my radar to buy in the future. Some are new, some you have to get on eBay. So please do like and subscribe so we can grow the channel and I can do more reviews. And if you have any additional suggestions of cool Casio watches I should add to my list, do let me know in the comments so I can add it to my list. First up is the A100, which is a retro-futuristic inspired all front button watch. That's a reproduction of the F100, which was made famous by the Alien movie from 1979. I think it had two watches linked on the same band. So what this is a 1970s vision of a sci-fi watch that takes place in space in the year 2122, or approximately 100 years from now. So you can either think of it as a watch from the 70s or a watch 100 years from the future. Super cool watch. The real F100 goes on eBay for hundreds of dollars now, but this one you can get for $55 for the silver version, and the gold and the gray inverse display one you can get for about $75. And sort of related to the A100 is a kind of like a later 1980s color palette, the A120. Also 4 buttons on the front, but the buttons are now a little bit bigger and rectangular and actually labeled. The silver version has a purple and kind of mint blue color palette, which really reminds you of like the early 90s paper cups, and also kind of like the decoration color palette of a lot of fast food restaurants. And then there's also a Stranger Things version for $25 more. And then of course, there's also a gold one with kind of like an orange and peach colored button set. And yeah, I'm not sure if I like the late 70s A100 look or the kind of early 90s color version of the A120. So both similar yet different, so we may have to choose one. And for something a little bit different, but of the period, also very 80s, is the AQ 800, which is a kind of a very dressy dual analog digital, but still very 80s inspired watch. Much classier, much sleeker. I definitely have seen TV shows from the period or TV shows that tries to portray the period who have actors wearing the exact same watch, either in the steel or the gold version. Really great combination of analog, dial, and digital display. The digital might be a little bit too small, but the watch can only be so big. I definitely like it a lot more than the Casio, where the analog hands are large and chunky and depending on the time can obscure the digital display. This one will not have that issue. The upper part is the analog display, the lower part is the digital display, and this one comes in at right about $55 MSRP, and just a super clean design. I really like it. Now this next one is much more busier than the previous one. This is the DataBank 611. This one, I think a lot of folks will remind them of the CA53 calculator watch, but this is an even bigger watch, flatter, and the buttons are capacitive buttons, not the rubber push buttons. And the face of the watch is just also just a little bit bigger. And what is new is, aside from just a much more bigger display with a lot more things going on, it also has a telememo function, which is before the age of cell phones. People could put names and phone numbers onto the watch, and so it does have, you know, pre-smartphone kind of little function right there on the watch. Now, this is a watch, the DB31 or the 310 for the stainless steel version. DataBank Telememo 30 is a watch I actually had in middle school and high school after I had my F91W. This is also a telememo watch that I actually had the resin version. This is also a telememo watch, but it only has 2 buttons. You can see reverse and forward. So you can see storing people's names and numbers took a long time. But it is a much more compact watch. It's, I think it's a little bit bigger than the F91W, but not that much bigger. And so for, a kid's wrist, it was actually the perfect size. There's no way I could have worn the 611. It would have been too huge. And the only place you can get those now are on eBay, and depending on the condition, anywhere from $50 to $100. And this is another data bank Casio, but you can see it's a very different looking one. This time it combines two of my favorite things. One is the data bank function, but the other one is a very large world map, definitely bigger than the AE 1200 or the A500 I have now. But look at that huge world map, and you get world time and the data bank function. And it also has what's really, I find really interesting, is the analog hour and minute hands, but they're fairly thin, so it doesn't really obscure anything important on the digital display. Really like this watch, and it is going for hefty sum on eBay, and just had to find the right one in the right condition at the right price to get a cool one of these. I really love the design. And finally, there's going to be a mouthful, GMWB 5000 TVA-1. This is a watch that I didn't know about until fairly recently, maybe a year ago or so. This is the special titanium version of the traditional G-Shock square watch, but cranked up several levels higher than the original. It's made out of titanium. First and foremost, the modules got just everything G-Shock can do. You got multi-band, you got solar, you got a lot of water resistance, just got Bluetooth, just got everything in there, and it really looks like it belongs on the wrist of a mech warrior. If you're piloting a mech, this is the watch you would wear. And there's some really cool highlights here, like the exposed red resin cushion on the first link. And all of the printing on the bracelet. A lot of printing, but not really necessary, but it makes it look really cool. However, it is a whopping $1,650. And I think they're all sold out, but you can still find them on eBay for sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. But it's a lot of money for a really cool G-Shock. So those are my 7 watches that I have on my radar. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and so we can grow the channel and do more of these reviews. If you have any additional suggestions, either Casio or Seiko or Citizen digital watches, do let me know in the comments so I can add it to my future list or future purchasing list. And if I do get them, do a review on this channel.